Knights at the Round Table, a round-table discussion on speculative fiction books and film. Hi everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Knights at the Round Table. Today we are discussing the 2016 science fiction film Arrival. I am sitting at the table with Nathan and with Eric, and I'd like to start with general impressions of the film. Eric?
There were parts of this movie that I thought were absolutely brilliant, and others that annoyed me extremely.
I loved this movie. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I also loved this movie. The first little bit ripped my heart out, and then the last little bit just left me with so many questions, and in a good way. Like, my mind was blown!
Also, how did Amy Adams not win an Oscar for that movie?
Oh, she was so good!
Holy shit.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I said after watching it. I just wrote on Facebook, holy shit.
It's science fiction.
Oh yeah, there is a general bias against...
No.
It's science fiction, and she's not a white male savior.
Well, she was the savior, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
But was she?
Yeah.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Or were they?
Well...
No, she was.
She was.
She did the whole thing.
But did she actually do anything?
Yes, she did.
Wasn't everything already pre-decided?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, that was the question that was left up in the air, right?
Yeah.
If you could, if you knew your whole life story, would you change anything?
Yeah.
Turns out she would not.
I wouldn't either.
My question is, could she?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wouldn't knowing it change it to start with?
Not
Yes,
necessarily.
yeah, that's
It
exactly...
changes your experience of it. But this is
Yeah.
getting a little bit too deep, I think, for this time in the panel.
Okay, you're right.
It's alright.
You can't help it, because the whole time I was thinking, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so the opening made me go, oh, no, dead kids. And then it kept coming back, and I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I had a 2-month-old. And
a 2-year-old.
I was like, oh, look at her. She's so sad. Oh, the entire movie, I'm like, oh, look at her. She's so sad. Oh, look, she's having PTSD symptoms from having a dead kid. Oh.
No.
I mean, sort of.
Sort of.
She was mourning something that had yet to happen.
Yes.
Except for the P means pre.
And this is one of the things that I
post-traumatic
thought she did so well. You know, how do you process an emotion that no human has ever felt before?
Right.
And she did it so well, like the whole melancholy of, like, you know, kind of loss and excitement because you haven't had it yet.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Holy crap, right? Like, after the movie ended, I was just sitting there for a bit. I had 2 other movies to watch, and I was just, I can't now.
Yeah.
Like, this is a movie you need time to
I
process.
sat there and I was like, I need to hug my kids, but they're asleep! I liked the movie, I liked the pacing, I loved the way they dealt with I don't know much about linguistics, but you might. I love the way they dealt with it. I love that they actually made the language. Like, there's 100 different symbols that they developed. And
Yeah.
it felt like an interesting science fiction novel. Like, you know when Asimov is at his absolute best and he manages to balance the science with the characters and you don't want to pull out your own hair because too much science? That's where this hit, perfectly in the middle. And it was wonderful to watch, and I was fascinated by the septopods? Heptapods?
Heptapods.
7. Yeah,
7?
heptapods.
Okay, I couldn't remember the amount of legs.
7,
But-
like the giant walking hands from...
Yeah,
They
giant
did-
hand people.
They did look like hands.
Yeah.
I kept
Yeah.
thinking they were hands.
You're like Thing from... No, or...
I kept
Yeah,
expecting that.
Yeah, like the giant thing from
Yeah.
Adam's Family, exactly.
I kept expecting that we would like see a pan backwards and it's just a giant with 2 hands.
Abbott and Costello are
Abbott and
actually
Costello,
just
yeah.
appendages of one giant thing. Yeah.
And I really love the use of media. I found a lot of books and movies use media poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read one.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes you're like, okay, yes, we know. plane falls out of the sky. And today, several planes fell out of the sky, but nobody knows why. Why are you showing me the same thing twice?
Yeah.
This was perfectly filling in the gaps, and
it felt like you were there.
Yeah.
It felt like you were there, and you know the way that, like, when she shows up in class and almost nobody's there, and then people are getting notifications, and then she's like, what's going on?
Yeah,
and she's like, turn on the TV, and it just gives you just enough detail to make you feel like this is really happening.
Yeah.
it makes,
But it doesn't over-explain anything.
But it reminds me of the times that I've been in situations like that.
Yeah.
Like 9/11.
9/11, I was
or
at work.
Yeah.
And at work. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I worked when I was in university. I worked full-time when I was going to university full-time. It's exhausting. Don't ever do that if you can possibly
Okay,
avoid
I was in
it.
10th grade.
What? That was 2001.
2001? I was 12th grade. I was in high school.
I was 20.
I was...
How old were you?
I was born in 83, so...
18?
Oh.
Okay.
But
I was
yeah.
17.
I graduated university at university. At 16, I'm a regular Doogie Howser.
I
graduated high school at 16, or just after I turned 17, like 3 days after I turned 17.
I was turning 18 that summer.
Yeah, I was
19 that
18,
summer.
19.
So I was 18.
You went to school in Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
that's
had one
why.
more grade.
Yeah.
Anyway, that or the blackouts. The big blackout that happened.
I totally remember, because
2003?
it did remind me of, like, the time, 9/11, because I was at work. I got a phone call from my sister. I picked up the phone. I'm like, it no longer exists, but I was like, O'Shea's Market, Ireland. And it was my sister, and she's like, Sonia, I need you to turn on the radio right now. So I turned on the radio, and then they were talking. It was just before the second plane hit. And the whole, like, dead silence that went through the shop was exactly what was described.
They had the numbness down.
Oh,
yeah,
they got that
numb.
so well. So
Her watching TV over and over again.
The
and just falling
melancholic
asleep
numbness,
to it.
yes. And then when she walks into the empty classroom, and she's the only person on campus.
Yeah.
She walks into the empty classroom and is just standing there. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the entire world is different now.
I feel this. They did such
and then
a good job.
The riots. The only thing that I was surprised was there wasn't more talk of major religions. There was only that one cult that killed themselves. I'm surprised. I would have expected more, like, the Vatican.
It was all about the scale of the story.
Yeah.
The scale of the story was her story.
Yes.
No,
she's not
the
in
newspaper.
But
like,
that's it.
They
but,
had clips of news, some about a cult, some about this. I was
but
supposed...
it wasn't. It was very small. It was just what she was interested in because it was really
that's true.
her perspective. It was a really
narrowed its
personal
focus.
scope.
Yes, and which is probably why it sucked like right from
Oh,
the beginning.
Because you were
from the
right there
beginning.
with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a character who showed very little, like, full breadth of emotion till mid-movie, she was really good at sucking you in.
Yeah. I think it's partly because, I mean, I have depression, and that sort of blanket of numbness that covered the whole first half of that film is exactly right. Exactly right. So, yeah. It was great. And this whole time I'm like, oh god, she's mourning her daughter, she's mourning her daughter. And then later I'm like, she was mourning a daughter that died that hasn't yet been born, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
We talk about the structure of this movie.
Right. These were her memories, but they weren't yet made. Like, what the fuck?
It's like this science fiction memento.
But that's it. And the thing is, the structure of the movie was exactly the structure of the language of the aliens.
Yes.
And it was exactly the way that she perceives time.
Yeah.
And you know, you had the death of the daughter as a leitmotif, and you don't really understand why until, like, it starts to hit you that holy crap, it's the whole circular thing. But it's not just circular, it's simultaneous. Everything is always simultaneous. The whole time and the whole life, everything is there and it's happening at the same time. And this is what's happening in the movie. Like, it's not just you start with the end and then you go back to the beginning and it forms a loop like the like language. It's no, everything is always happening. It's always happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to say, as much as I hate love tropes in science fiction fantasy stuff, like when it becomes, oh, clearly the hero and heroine are going to get together. Clearly, oh my god, you're on board. In this case, I loved it.
Oh my god,
it was
yes.
subtle enough and made complete sense. I mean, everyone's been in a situation where it's
You're
so
in a
intense
trauma
that
situation
you
together.
fall for the other person, whether it's love or
you
romance
form
or
really
not.
strong bonds in trauma.
And you know that they're gonna break up before they even get together.
Right? You
It's
know that
amazing.
they're going to be divorced. You know that they're divorced.
It's funny because at one point I was like, oh, she has a type. Because she mentions
Scientist.
that
Yeah,
scientist
Ask your father.
before
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, yeah. No, it was before that.
Yes.
She said something about science and the dad, and I was like, oh.
I
so
also
she has a
really
type.
enjoyed that this relationship was born out of absolute admiration and respect for her.
Yes.
For what
Yes.
she has achieved and how
Yeah.
hard she has worked. And
If there is any hero worship, it's very much his worship of her.
exactly. Which made me very happy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes, their relationship is completely you were there for me and you're brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it? I'm sorry. This is something that's frustrated me a lot with science fiction lately. People are dumb. These are experts that expertly.
Yes.
They
Yeah,
really do.
They really
do.
do.
There's no stupidity. There's no he's a worldwide expert and then does something completely moronic.
And I love the bit where, like, the military guy is like, give me something to sell this to them.
Yeah.
And she tells them a bald-faced lie.
Oh my god! The
that
kangaroo
actually,
story!
I know, and it actually really serves her purpose.
Yes.
And you know, and it's like, well, does that something have to be true if its essence is true?
Yeah. I do
it
have
is
to
a
say...
myth.
Yes,
Like a real life.
Like, as an Australian, when she went kangaroo, I went, oh, fuck, here we go. And then she told the story. I'm like, oh, God, I
And then
hate
she goes,
this. And
it's
then she
a
goes,
lie.
it's a lie. I'm like, yes! Thank you!
It's a misunderstanding, but yeah. Throughout the story, I was like, why isn't she telling the Ottawa story instead, the Canada story instead?
Oh,
Does it mean
it
village?
means village. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
But
one
then
is
the
actually
kangaroo
true.
one's actually more apt because it isn't true.
Yeah.
I also liked that the Chinese, the gaming, the teaching through Mahjong
Yes.
styles, and how everything, the
becomes
structure of the
adversarial.
language,
Adversarial.
Because
and it was
you
the first
give-
hint
you give-
towards what
yeah.
structure you speak creates how you think.
Yes. There is...
The word for war?
Oh, in
The Sanskrit
Sanskrit?
word for... Oh, that was such a good bit.
Yeah. What do you think it means? I think it's the desire for more cattle. Like, more cows, I think she said.
You're hired!
Yeah,
Like,
basically
yes.
get
Did
in
he
the
do
chopper.
research into finding what it was, or
He went to talk to another sheep.
no? But did
Yeah.
he go out to find an?
No, it's
third
probably
expert,
because her version was less adversarial than his. Right.
and
Because any translation he would
military
be would be from
government who didn't want to blow up the aliens right away.
Oh my
Oh
god,
my
that was
goodness.
so good.
that. Yes, thank you for not making the military a bunch of idiots.
I mean, they
Yeah.
had the idiot macho boys who tried
Yeah,
to
but
blow
like,
up.
it's
Oh,
just like
fuck
any
this
other
stuff.
group.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you know?
those people were watching Fox News.
They were people, as
Yeah.
opposed to the entire military is run by evil,
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
blow them up kind of guys.
Yes.
Even the guy who was CIA or whoever,
Yeah.
he was
He-
who he was supposed to be and what his job dictated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was still a character rather than a caricature,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is really refreshing.
and his character wasn't particularly great. But I mean,
Well, I mean,
it made sense. Like, even when as soon as the word weapon was used, the Chinese were like, fuck this, we're out. Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
And
This
she
is-
was like, but maybe they don't have a word for weapon.
yeah,
And maybe
it's-
we are mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe, because there's sometimes very little difference between a weapon and a tool. Sometimes
Yeah.
they are both.
Mhm.
Like a hammer,
Exactly.
for example. Can build shit with it, also crush a skull.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what dwarves have taught me.
far over the misty... Okay, I'm done. We'll get a copyright strike now. Thanks! Me? God.
I sing that as a bedtime song to my kids.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. I forget the name of the theory, but I love that they included it about how immersing yourself in a language can rewire your brain.
Yes.
There is tons of evidence to say that this is indeed the case. There is, in North Queensland, there's a family of indigenous languages. I'm going to mispronounce this so bad. but I think it's the Ganu Yimithir language family of New South Wales, of North Queensland. Wow! Just name your closest rival, Sonia. Of North Queensland. Queensland and New South Wales have been at it for ages. And in their manner of speaking, they have they use geographic location rather than egocentric location. So they'll say, pass me the hammer to the north, rather than to your left, or in front of you, or behind you.
And they have perfect...
And so now they have an inherent understanding of where north, south, east, and west is. And that's because of the way that their language construct happens. And unfortunately, we're losing those languages, so people are losing that skill, and it's upsetting me. It's really sad. But it's actually a thing.
I'm not surprised. I assume that theory was the basis for this
I
entire short story this was based off of.
Yeah,
I imagine he read that and went,
sometimes
I have an idea!
Yeah, sometimes something happens and an idea just goes bang, and then you're like, need to write that down.
It is a perfect science fiction idea.
Yeah.
But the fact
not
that
sure
it
I
made
fully grasp it.
What made it so perfect for me was that you took this really high-level idea and then brought it down to something so deeply personal.
Yes. Because there's two major conceits to the movie, right? There's the language affects how you experience everything.
Yes.
And what would you do?
Yeah.
If you knew.
Yeah.
And I can't answer that.
Yeah, no.
I'm not... I don't think I can answer it. It's too hard a question. I mean, I know I would try really, 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 really hard to cure it, but...
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I don't know, like, I just... I'm not going to get into philosophical things or whatever, but I think the whole point of that was, it's not inevitability, it's more like, it's worth experiencing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The joy.
Yeah, I would
that's
never
right.
give up. If I knew my kids were going to die, I would still go do it again, but my brain as a gamer and a writer and a game designer goes, what if? How do I game this system? Like, if she made up her mind to do something else, would she then see the consequences and be able to self-correct again? Like, how many different branches can she see?
Yeah, exactly.
The thing about this particular conception of time, though, is because it happens all at once. You know, if changing something in the future will also change something about the past. Like, you see when she's talking to the Chinese dignitary 18 months in the future, and he's telling her how to change his mind 18 months in the past.
Yeah.
If that moment hadn't happened, then
That
this moment
moment
wouldn't happen either. And this is what I loved about this, because when you're talking about time travel and conception of time and everything, you're always thinking about, like, oh, the different futures. But there's also the different paths, the different pasts, and the different presents.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is, can she change something to change the whole?
Well, if she changed something, the whole would change.
That's it.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
But could she change it back? Or, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And still, my brain
exactly.
automatically strives for,
Right?
you have to
That's-
find a way to save her.
Essentially, well, that's not what happened to me. What happened to me was my brain just exploded, and I sat in the chair in front of the television just staring at a blank screen for a long while.
I know, you can't watch anything else for,
No,
like,
no,
an
no.
hour. At
No,
least.
I know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I have 2 other movies. Like, I've got to watch Death Becomes Her after this. What?
I stared at a page in a book for about 30 minutes and then went, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah, no, my brain was just utter mush at the end of it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think because it was so personal, like this huge, monumentous experience for the entire world was all on her.
Yeah.
But that's
And
the only way to do it.
Dragged
Yes.
me in so well. Like, from the jump, I was like,
The bigger, I find the bigger the event, the smaller it should be. Unless you're doing a disaster movie, but that's a totally different style.
yeah.
But if you want to experience the full trauma of this kind of event, you have to go with one person.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
of course,
no.
then they pile on even more trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, and I honestly think that if something like that were to happen now, it would feel as surreal as walking
Yeah.
through this movie felt. They did such a good job with
They
that.
really did. Oh my god.
I understand the hype now. Before I was like, oh, it can't be all that good. I mean, come on. Most sci-fi movies these days are kind of same.
It's so nice to have something that is positive. I'm sorry, I'm just so sick of space fear porn.
Yes.
They go to space. Aliens. Go to space. Plants. No, you need a space opera. That's different. It wasn't space is inherently going to kill you.
I mean, it is
like
inherently
Sandra Bullock floating in space,
okay.
or was it Matt Damon stuck on Mars?
Yeah.
I mean,
was
Matt
it Tom
Damon
Cruise
survived.
with evil plants in space?
Evil Plants in Space.
Pretty much everything that is based.
Sounds like such a 70s movie. That's the title too. Evil Plants in Space.
There's a movie where they find some bacteria and it starts growing and it starts killing them on a space station.
Yeah.
It's relatively new. It feels like every science fiction that isn't space opera that has come out recently, that is aliens or anything, is doom, gloom, everything's out to kill you. And
Yeah. And it's really refreshing to see an alien movie that's not an invasion movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, kind of is in a way.
Not really.
No, really. It's a
They're here to
changing
share
the way
stuff and then they
people-
leave.
The way people, if you change the way people think, you're changing the species.
Yes, but you're not there to destroy it.
No.
It's not.
And mine
it's
the
not,
planet
it's not
for
a,
its resources.
Yeah, it's
That
not a
is
story of colonialism, for example.
Yes, that's it.
Although I like they mention it.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like that they mentioned was a more advanced race. Fuckers, we're all human. It's not a different race. It was just a different culture. God damn it!
Speak for yourself. My allergies and my look tell me that I'm actually slightly less human and more Neanderthal.
Also part of the hominid species.
True.
Also Genesis Homo. Homo neanderthalensis. Homo
That'd be a
sapiens
different
sapien.
breed, you're right, not a different race.
Not a different race. Okay. So final thoughts and star rating, since we're going to jump straight into that.
My brain is still feeling dumb, which I don't like. I really don't like feeling like I'm missing something.
Yeah.
There's a whole causality thing that is bugging me, and I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But that being said, the movie was perfectly crafted, wonderfully acted. There was nothing in it that made me go, oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, except for the, oh, come on.
Yeah.
So, 4.5? I'm probably not going to rewatch it, though.
Oh.
Oh, 5 out of me. And I thought watching it the second time was even better.
Yeah. 5 for me too. I love this film. I love that it was a sci-fi film that wasn't all about blowing aliens up.
It was all about communication and understanding.
Yeah, it was all about communication and understanding. Fucking yes. And I absolutely adored how wonderfully tense and surreal and beautiful and ultimately hopeful this movie was.
Without getting to the point of boredom.
Without being preachy either. It was so beautiful, this film.
Mm-hmm.
Just
because it doesn't preach to you.
It doesn't preach.
It tells you what she would do in this situation.
Yeah, it's...
It also isn't... Like, I feel dumb, but that's just because I keep thinking about the same things over and over again. Yeah. But it's not a thinky movie. You could watch it and just be like, whoa. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, for the entirety of the movie, and then afterwards I was like, what?
And it's the rare movie that, you know, kind of like makes you feel like you don't have to think. But if you do want to think, oh my god, is there a lot to think about?
Yeah. I intend on buying the Blu-ray of this. I was blown away by this movie. I really enjoyed it, so it gets a 5 for me.
I'll definitely give it another try when my kids are older. Maybe I'll be less emotional.
No,
With more sleep.
I cried and I don't have kids. I was sobbing.
Oh, I'm expecting to cry. I'm just not expecting to sob like a... The Iron Giant!
Yes!
Sorry, it's just a little hard to read sometimes.
No, that's
My handwriting is shit.
1998?
Don't you know?
Late 90s.
Thank you. So the next movie, or one of the movies forthcoming that we will be reviewing, is The Iron Giant. If you have Iron Giant.
Iron
Giant.
That's a totally different movie.
It's just a giant
Space
electric
propulsion.
charge. Anyway, The Iron Giant. Stop it. If you have any thoughts about Arrival, do leave them down in the comments below. on our Discord if you're one of our Patreons, and also on Twitter. I lurk on all of the platforms, so I may or may not respond to you. It's up in the air, let's be honest. If you have any other films that you would like us to review, do leave them in the bowl or in the comments below again, and we will put them in the bowl.
If you can get them in the bowl,
if you can get them
that'll
in
be
the
a little creepy.
Oh, God. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.